Paradise by Venator Macchi. Telek could not believe his eyes. From birth to his induction at 16 into the 15th Gun Regiment, his world had held only one shape and color: the dull gray tubes of his fortified shelter. The only air he had ever felt was cloying, oppressively warm, full of the stink of the 1,000 other souls he shared it with, and the oily stench of the failing coolant systems. And the only light he had known was dim, flickering, and fluorescent. Oh, he had heard of better places, of course. What child of the Empire hadn't heard of the 15th and their exploits after all? But that had always seemed so far away, even when he joined up for basic training. Telek was no raw recruit anymore, no flighty grave scout whose stoicism crumbled under the slightest hint of pressure. He had marched alongside Acastus himself, fighting on a dozen battlefields through stinking swamps and smoldering firescapes, against monsters very nearly as bad as the mutants he had grown up with the nightmare stories of. He was a solemn rifleman, and those stories he'd heard, he knew to be lies. At least, until now. The sky above him was a startling, impossible blue, deeper than even the cyanide pills he'd been issued for if the mutants got to him, punctuated by puffs of white smoke that drifted lazily on a slow, steady wind. The horizon was hidden by massive gray-purple mountains, their white peaks shimmering even from afar as they thrust higher than any building Telek had ever hoped to see. And the vegetation around him? It was gold, not yellowed with toxic waste or natural decay, but a bright, living amber, a color that dominated the landscape all the way to the base of those immense peaks. But the best part, by far, was the air. It was cold, yes, but so fresh, so clear, so unpolluted with stink or toxic gas or flame that Telek almost wished he could tear off his gas mask and breathe it in, fresh and deep. Perhaps he would, when his sergeant wasn't around. It's so beautiful. It took Telek a moment to realize he was the one who had spoken. No kidding. That had come from his squad mate Petrus, who by his tone seemed just as stunned as he was. Cut the chatter! Eyes front! At once, Sergeant Fayrick's voice cut through their daze of wonder. I see something. It was only then that Telek could hear a distinct chop-chop-chopping growing ever closer. Is that? Yeah, looks like it. Sergeant Lyubomir Delchev of the Bulgar Khaganate's 15th Air Assault Wing answered his co-pilot's question before it had even finished. He motioned down through the armored glass window of his Tangri gunship, pointing at the small group of unknown soldiers on the Kazakh steppes below. Portal must have opened up. Poor bastards. Though his pilot's helmet hid his face, His co-pilot got the distinct notion he was smirking. So what do we do then? Open fire? Sergeant Delachev snorted. Why bother? All it'll mean is more paperwork for us. And for what? They'll be gone soon anyway. With that, he switched on the helicopter's onboard radio and spoke into the microphone. Tamag Base, this is so-called 12 reporting. Test area is clear and evacuated. You may commence nuclear launch at your discretion. Commencing nuclear launch in 5, 4,